Hello everyone. Welcome back to Sansan, Best Anime Reaction. Last episode left us with a heavy sense of dread, as if the world is standing on the brink of disaster. In this episode, I expect that dread to transform into full realization as events begin unfolding on a massive scale. The consequences of long-held beliefs and actions are finally becoming impossible to ignore. I'm also expecting strong emotional reactions from characters who now understand the true cost of freedom. This episode feels like it will solidify the direction of the final arc, leaving no room for turning back. Attack on Titan is entering its darkest territory yet. Let's begin episode 22 and witness how everything continues to collapse.
Him! That was Aaron's voice!
My name is Eren Yeager. I'm addressing my fellow subjects of Ymir, speaking to you directly through the power of the Founder. All the walls on the island of Paradis have crumbled to the ground, and the legions of Titans buried within have begun their march. My only goal is to protect the lives of the people of Paradis, the island where I was born. Right now, the nations of the world are united in their desire to exterminate my people, and it won't end with our island. They won't be satisfied until every last subject of Ymir is dead. I won't let them have their way. The Titans of the Walls will continue their march until every trace of life beyond our shores is trampled flat, and the people of Paradis are all that remains of humanity.
Where did we all go just now? Mr. Leonhardt, are you all right over there?
Yes, but did you hear it? The Titans from my island are on their way to kill us all.
Falco! Where are you?
Alright, grab a seat, maybe a cup of coffee, and definitely buckle up, because we're about to take a long, chaotic, slightly unhinged but very heartfelt walk through Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 22, known officially as Thaw. And yes, the title alone already sounds like something is about to melt emotionally, ideologically, or explosively, or all three at once, because this is Attack on Titan and subtlety left the building a long time ago. Imagine this episode as that deep breath you take right after a massive argument, when everyone involved is still angry, still traumatized, but just calm enough to finally talk. Episode 22 doesn't throw titans at your face every 5 seconds. Instead, it does something arguably more dangerous. It forces characters to confront each other with words, memories, and uncomfortable truths. And somehow, that ends up hurting just as much. We open in the aftermath of absolute madness. The rumbling has begun. Walls have fallen. Colossal titans are marching across the world like a very angry, very large marching band with zero chill. And the people left behind in Shiganshina? They're standing in the ruins, emotionally wrecked, morally confused, and probably wondering how their lives escalated this badly. Spoiler alert. Bad decisions stacked on top of generational trauma, topped with nationalism, sprinkled with fear. Classic recipe. Our focus quickly zooms in on the uneasy alliance forming between former enemies. This episode is all about people who absolutely should not be in the same room, being stuck in the same room. Marleyans and Eldians, warriors and scouts, people who killed each other's friends now sharing campfires and awkward silence. If tension were electricity, this place could power the entire continent. Gene is one of the emotional anchors here, and bless him, because someone needs to represent the audience screaming internally. He's angry. And not the dramatic anime anger where someone yells and punches a wall. This is the quiet, simmering kind. The kind that comes from realizing that the person sitting across from you played a role in the deaths of people you loved. When Gene looks at—
We're here! If you can hear me, say something!
Becoming one of the Nine is a real ordeal. It leaves you helpless. Screws up your memories, too. There's no way they wouldn't have grabbed him.
Why? Who's they?
I'm gonna guess John and Connie saw how everything went down and realized Falco was far too important to leave behind. They'll bring him back to the Scouts. They know he's got one of the Nine. There's no way they'd let him...
What's wrong, Raina? Did you use up all your power?
Yeah. My armor came undone. Right as the wall fell. A chunk of it hit me dead on. I couldn't stop him. It's over. Aaron's about to destroy the world. South of here. We have airships ready to escape. Find Peak or anyone else who's still alive. And flee the island. You have to go warn Marley and the world. Fast as you can.
What does it matter if we warn them? They have nowhere to run. My mom and dad and Aunt Karina, they're gonna die along with everybody else in Marley.
That's right.
Then we need to kill Aaron and save them!
You can't do that. The Founder's control over all Titans and subjects of the Ymir is absolute. There's no way we can stop Aaron now. The war's been decided. There's no winning. But if you keep moving, maybe you'll see the aftermath.
Wait, Raina. No way am I just letting this happen. Hang on, Falco. I'm coming.
It's over. Maniac or not, I never thought Aaron would slaughter everyone who lives outside the walls. And when he's done, everyone who hates us will be dead. The entire outside world was a threat to our existence, and now it's going to be trampled flat and left empty. These people called us Island Devils, said we'd kill them all unless they killed us first. We became what they thought.
Reiner, you can practically hear his thoughts screaming, I should punch you, but I'm too emotionally exhausted to even do that properly. And Reiner, oh Reiner. If guilt were a physical weight, this man would have collapsed into the Earth's core by now. Episode 22 continues the long-running tradition of Reiner being the most depressed human being alive, and honestly, he earns it. When Gene confronts him about Marco's death, the atmosphere changes instantly. This isn't just exposition, this is a wound being ripped open years later. Reiner admits the truth, not defensively, not with excuses, just raw honesty. He explains how Marco overheard something he shouldn't have, how fear and panic took over, and how they made a decision that couldn't be undone. The way this scene is handled is devastating because no one tries to justify anything. There's no heroic framing, just people admitting they did terrible things and now have to live with it. Gene's reaction is incredibly human. He doesn't forgive, he doesn't explode, he just breaks a little. Because sometimes knowing the truth doesn't bring closure. Sometimes it just confirms that the world is cruel and unfair, and that good people die because others are scared and confused. Attack on Titan has always been great at showing that war doesn't create monsters. It reveals them, and sometimes the monster is just a terrified teenager with too much power and not enough guidance. Meanwhile, Gabby and Falco are there, quietly absorbing everything like emotional sponges. Gabby, in particular, continues her slow transformation from angry brainwashed child soldier into person who is painfully aware of how wrong everything is. Watching her listen to these adults argue about responsibility, blame, and forgiveness is important because it shows the cost of passing hatred down generations. Gabby is basically a walking case study of what happens when a child is raised on propaganda and then forced to confront reality. Falco, as always, is the emotional MVP. If Attack on Titan had a Best Boy Who Deserves None of This award, he would win it every year. He listens, he empathizes, and he understands something many adults.
And we're doing what they feared we'd do, because we have to. In the end, it's on them. This is only happening because the world picked a fight and lost. There wasn't anything that we could have done differently, was there?
But even so, Eren is going too far. He's committing genocide against the world.
Well then, what do we do? Should we stop him? Think on it. Eren tricked Zeke and kept him from castrating us all with his euthanization plan. In Astoria could have taken the Founder, but Eren opposed that because it would have cost her life. He did this for his friends. Eren wants to protect us even if it means killing everybody else on the planet. He's doing something more horrible than we can imagine. For our sakes.
Because you're important to me. More than anyone else.
What was that? Wait a second. The Titans are going after our soldiers? Did all the Marleyan troops get eaten? Why? Eren's using the Founder's power. He should have total control over all these Titans.
Who cares why? They're eating us! Let's go and help!
Sean, wait! What'll you do with the kid?
I don't know. But when he turned, I think he ate the Jaw Titan. That means we can use him. Feed him to one of our guys who Zeke transformed. We can bring someone back. If we find Commander Pixis,
No. We saved my mom. Take him to Ragako and feed him to her. All right?
Wait a sec. Guys, Zeke told us this kid was one of Marley's warrior candidates and that Reina and the rest of his unit all treat him like their little brother. The war is basically over now. Marley is about to be trampled flat, which means Reina and the cart have nothing to fight for unless we give them something. If we kill their friend now, we'll be offering the two of them a whole new reason to keep coming after us, and we get nothing out of it. Please.
What? You think bringing back my mom is nothing?
That's not what I meant to.
For 4 years, I've had to watch her lie helpless in the ruins of my home. Do you have any idea what that's like? You ate Bertolt. That's why you're still with us, right? Well, my mom can be with us too now. Don't you dare!
Stop! Connie, wait! Too late! Shit.
no walls to keep them.
Still struggle with. That recognizing someone's pain doesn't erase your own, but it might stop the cycle from continuing. Then there's Annie, finally awake, finally present, and still just as emotionally distant as ever, which honestly is impressive considering the chaos. Annie's role in this episode is subtle but important. She doesn't jump into arguments. She observes. And when she does speak, it's blunt, almost cruelly honest. Annie doesn't sugarcoat things because she never learned how to. She grew up as a tool, and tools don't get taught emotional litera. Sigh. Her conversation with Mikasa is particularly interesting. Mikasa, who has spent most of her life orbiting Eren like a very devoted satellite, is now faced with the reality that the person she loves is actively committing global genocide. And Annie doesn't offer comfort. She offers a mirror. She basically asks, if you had Eren's power, what would you do? And Mikasa doesn't have an answer. That silence says everything. Speaking of Mikasa, this episode does something very important for her character. It allows her to be uncertain. For the first time, she isn't charging forward with blades drawn or shouting Eren's name. She's thinking, doubting, questioning her own feelings. That thaw in the title isn't just political. It's emotional. Mikos's frozen sense of identity is starting to melt, and that's terrifying for her. Armin, meanwhile, is in full existential crisis mode, which is basically his default setting at this point. He's carrying the weight of being the colossal titan, the guilt of Berthold's memories bleeding into his own, and the impossible task of stopping his best friend. Armin represents the intellectual struggle of the episode. He's constantly asking, what's the right choice, in a world where every choice is stained with blood? One of the most fascinating undercurrents in this episode is the idea of shared responsibility. No one is innocent here. Not the Marleyans, not the Eldians, not the Scouts. The episode refuses to give the audience an easy moral high ground. Instead, it says, everyone made choices based on fear, survival, and the stories that—
Titan's office now. We're gonna have to take all of them out.
Just a matter of time now.
We gotta get out of here.
This happened. Killing him. It's not safe.
Zeke summoned all these titans. So why would he allow them to come after us?
They broke through. It's over. We're dead.
Don't slow down! Stick to the narrow alleyways! Kaya, watch out!
Kyle.
We have to keep running!
Please no. Not again. Where are you, Sasha? Please don't let it eat me. Sasha, you came.
Weren't you going to evacuate with the warrior unit? What are you doing here?
I decided I couldn't leave without Falco.
It's Ben, in it.
Hey! You guys alright down there? Did you kill the Titan yourselves? What's that weapon you got? Did the girl fire it?
Hold on. Is she that Marleyan infiltrator?
Answer him, or I will fire!
No, she's not! She's my sister and our family runs the stables to the south! Kaya.
And I was the one who fired the shot! I'm a former prisoner of war, so I know how to use this thing!
We ain't a threat to y'all, so how about you point those guns away and help get us to safety?
Help, Mr. Soldier!
we're told. And now they're all living with the consequences. There's a quiet moment where the group discusses Eren himself, and it's uncomfortable because no one fully understands him anymore. The Eren they knew, the hot-headed kid who wanted freedom, is still there, but twisted, magnified, and weaponized. Some characters still want to believe he can be stopped without killing him. Others aren't so sure, and that uncertainty hangs over the entire episode like a storm cloud. What makes episode 22 special isn't action, but restraint. The music is subdued, the pacing is slower, the camera lingers on faces instead of explosions. And that choice forces the viewer to sit with the discomfort. You don't get the release of a fight scene. You get conversations that hurt, confessions that sting, and silence that screams louder than any Titan roar. Thematically, this episode is about the possibility of understanding, not forgiveness. And that's an important distinction. Forgiveness implies closure. Understanding implies work. It implies listening to stories you don't want to hear and accepting that people you hate are still human. Attack on Titan has never been interested in easy answers, and Thaw is a perfect example of that philosophy. By the time the episode ends, nothing is resolved. The world is still ending. Eren is still moving forward. But something has changed. The walls between these characters, the emotional ones, have started to crack. And in a story built on literal walls, that metaphor hits hard. So if you walked into episode 22 expecting Titans throwing hands, you might have been surprised. But if you stayed for the emotional payoff, the character development, and the uncomfortable honesty, this episode delivers in a way that action never could. It reminds us that before the end of the world, people still have to look each other in the eye and reckon with who they've been. And honestly, that might be the scariest part of all. If this episode were a message to the audience, it would be this: hatred doesn't disappear when the fighting stops. It fades slowly, painfully, through conversation, accountability, and the willingness to see your enemy as a person. Whether that Thaw comes in time to save the world.
Easy, we'll get you out. We can guide you around the flames.
It'll be all right. You better gonna make it out of all this. But for the time being, you're gonna have to stick with us and keep your head down.
Right.
I have to ask. Did all of you have that daydream too?
Yeah. Was it true about the Titans and the walls, stomping the whole world flat?
Yep, seems to be.
So, why did you cover for me? I can't explain it. And you? Why would you want to save me? You know, you could have died. Not sure. Earlier, I tried to stab you in the neck. Maybe I really am a devil. No. The only devil here is me. I've killed so many people in my life just because I wanted praise. It's sick. It's the devil in me.
There's a devil in me, too. And in you, Kaya. And in everyone else. That's why our world's the way it is. There's a devil inside us all.
But if that's true, then what do we do?
We get out of the forest. Maybe we'll fail. But we still have to keep trying.
Help me! You okay, Serva?
I taught you punks a dozen ways to deal with Titans, and whimpering like infants isn't one of them. We've still got some old ODM gear lying around, so suit up! You want to see the other side of this? Get off your sorry asses and follow me!
Commandant shot us, you're alive!
Are there any more survivors in there? Gather at the top floor! We need to draw the Titans into a group so we can hit them all at once! Get all the Thunder Spears up there too! Whatever you've got, we'll make it work! Don't let any of the Titans wander off! These are the people you trained and fought with! They need us to put them to rest!
Well, that's a question Attack on Titan leaves hanging, just to make sure your emotional damage is fully complete. And that's episode 22. No Titans punched, but plenty of hearts were. One detail in this episode that deserves way more attention than it usually gets is the simple fact that almost the entire episode revolves around people sitting down and talking. That sounds boring on paper, right? In any other anime, a campfire scene would be filler. In Attack on Titan, it's emotional warfare. And episode 22 turns conversation itself into a battlefield. Think about it. These characters have spent years communicating through violence. Titans crashing through walls, blades slicing necks, guns, explosions, screams. That was their language. And now, suddenly, they're expected to use words. No armor, no transformations, just their voices. And honestly, they're terrible at it, which is exactly why the scene feels so real. The campfire becomes a neutral zone, almost like an unspoken truce. No one officially declares peace. No one says, let's forgive each other. Instead, everyone sits there stiffly, guarded, waiting for someone else to make the first move. You can feel how unnatural this is for them. Soldiers are trained to act, not to reflect. And yet, reflection is exactly what this moment demands. What's fascinating is how silence is treated almost like another character in the scene. There are long pauses where nobody speaks, and those pauses are heavy. They're filled with memories of people who aren't there anymore. Marco, Sasha, Erwin, Berthold, names that don't need to be spoken out loud because everyone is already hearing them in their heads. When Jean finally breaks that silence and confronts Reiner, it doesn't feel heroic. It feels ugly, raw, and overdue. And that's important. Attack on Titan doesn't romanticize confrontation. Jean isn't brave because he speaks up because he can't carry the weight anymore. This is what trauma looks like when it stops being buried. Reiner's response is equally important because it avoids the easy path. He doesn't cry dramatically. He doesn't beg for forgiveness. He doesn't try to
Now, all at once! Fire!
Here they come.
This way! There's no need for any of you to fight! Just lead him to the fort!
Commander Exit.
Let's go.
Commander, he would never have been able to make it this far without you. So thank you, and rest in peace.
The fires have mostly died down. Marley's troops were pretty much wiped out. And the pure Titans are all gone. For the moment, we're safe.
I see. If we're out of danger, we've got time to talk about the daydream. What'd he say? What's Eren trying to do?
We're watching him do it.
Is that so? Then my homeland is doomed as well.
defend himself with ideology or orders from Marley. He just admits it, flatly, almost numbly, and that numbness tells us everything about how long he's been punishing himself already. This exchange reframes the entire concept of enemy. Up until this point, Reiner was a symbol. The armored titan, the traitor, the face of betrayal. But here, stripped of his titan form, he's just a broken man who made choices as a child and has been paying for them every day since. The episode doesn't ask us to forgive him, but it forces us to understand him. And understanding is far more uncomfortable. Another subtle but powerful detail is how the younger characters react during these conversations. Gabby and Falco don't interrupt. They don't argue. They listen. And that's huge. They represent the next generation, the ones who were supposed to inherit this endless war. But instead of being handed weapons, they're being handed truth. Ugly, painful truth. Gabby, especially, is witnessing the collapse of the worldview she was raised with in real time. All her life, she believed in clear lines. Good Eldians, bad Eldians. Heroes and devils. But here she sees adults on both sides admitting guilt, regret, and fear. No speeches. No propaganda. Just people owning their mistakes. And you can almost feel her internal conflict quietly reshaping her as she listens. This is where the episode's title, Thaw, really earns its meaning. Hatred in Attack on Titan is often portrayed as something frozen, passed down, preserved, unquestioned. A frozen narrative. They are the enemy. We are the victims. But conversations like this introduce warmth. Not enough to fix everything. Not enough to stop the rumbling. But enough to crack the ice. Mikos's silence during much of this episode also takes on new meaning here. For someone who has always acted first and questioned later, her restraint is striking. She's listening more than she's speaking, and that's part of her own thaw. Her identity has been frozen around Eren for so long that hearing others question him forces her to confront something terrifying. The possibility that loving someone doesn't mean agreeing with them.
Flock, are you okay?
Yeah. No thanks to the wall crumbling under my feet. Good job mopping up all the pure titans for us, Sean.
You survived.
Damn, no need to sound so excited about it. You should know I'm not ready to die just yet. Not before I finally get to see the rebirth of the Eldian Empire. Yelena, gather the volunteers. You're all under arrest.
Hey, what are you doing?
Glad you're here, Mr. Browse. Good to see you.
I'm glad y'all made it through okay. Apologies for giving you even more to deal with.
It's you. Why are you here?
Believe me, I'm not gonna make any more trouble. I just want my friend back. So please, let Falco go. I swear you'll never hear from either of us again. Where is he? What's wrong? So, his mom got transformed into a titan, and he's gonna have her eat Falco? But why?
When Connie's mom got turned, the limbs on her titan body were so weak she couldn't even roll over. We left her. And for 4 years, Connie's been visiting her at the spot.
4 years? I'm so sorry. But still, I can't let Falco die for it. Why do this? Can't Eren Yeager just use his power to turn Connie's mother back to normal? They say that the Founder's supposed to be able to do anything, right?
I can't say for sure. But if Eren could do that, I think he would have done it for our comrades that Zeke turned into titans instead of leaving them for us to kill.
If you don't know for sure, then why can't you go and ask him? Does every person beyond the shores of the island really need to die? He doesn't have to go that far, does he? Ask him why he doesn't just destroy all the military bases. Isn't that enough? He had the power to strip the armor off Rhina. Don't tell me he can't.
Can you tell us where Rhina is
Which doesn't even matter. He got hit by a chunk of the wall and he's too hurt to move.
You're telling us that Rhina's hardening came undone? When? When did it happen?
He said it fell off him as the walls were collapsing.
Does that mean when he brought the walls down, he did it by breaking all Titan hardening everywhere? sunset.
Thank you so much for watching this video on General Sansan Anime. I really appreciate you spending your time here and sharing this anime journey with me. If you enjoyed this reaction, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support truly means a lot and helps the channel grow stronger every day. I'll be back very soon with more exciting reactions, emotional moments, and unforgettable anime scenes for all of us to experience together. Until next time, take care, keep enjoying anime, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.